Emily, thanks so much for joining us.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
I tell you what, the saga of you being able to legally own a gun in Washington, D.C. just gets worse and worse. What's the latest that you've been going through?
I know you didn't think we'd still be talking about this in 2012, did you?
No, I didn't.
I didn't either. Well, the latest is, and this is exciting, I am now a gun owner.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. For the first time in my life, I bought a Sig Sauer P229 on Monday. Two-tone, I might add, because I really like that silver.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I bought it, and I've spent a good deal of money on this gun, and I found it so helpful. So many people helped me do this, find a dealer who would switch out the 13-round mag that it comes with a 10-round one that is legal in D.C., because you can't even send it to we have one gun dealer, Charles Sykes, and he can't even receive it with the, quote, high-capacity mag. So I needed to find a dealer who was willing to do that switch before sending it. And I found this great guy, Mark, at Immortal Arms in Virginia, and he did that for me. And then the problem is I don't get to see my gun. I don't get to play with my gun or shoot my gun because he now has to go through transferring it into D.C., and I still have to take a written test. My gun has to pass a ballistic test. I have to get all these papers signed, partially from Charles Sykes signed, but also eligibility. I have to find someone who will notarize it, get my eyes, proof my eyes are good, get fingerprinted. So all this stuff I have to do. Oh, and then after all of that, there's a 5-day waiting period for
a 5-day waiting period. You've been waiting for how long? How many months now?
Oh, several. I don't even know any. I've lost track. But
Jeez.
5-day waiting period for the city to finish the paperwork. That's their requirement. But then, even when they finish it and give me the paperwork and say I have a registration, valid registration, then they don't let Charles Sykes release the gun for 5 days. Again, another 5 days. No reason for that. So it's 10 days total. The second 5 is just like, I guess, my cooling off period because the 3 months I've been waiting is not enough.
That is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's unbelievable. And so I still, now that I've paid for a gun, I'm still no closer. And here's the thing. I asked the registry office, I said, what happens if I fail the test?
Yeah.
What happens if I miss a paperwork or something?
Right.
I've spent $787 on a gun, and the officer said, well, that doesn't happen very often. Well, that's not very reassuring. I talked to Sykes about it, and he said, well, it's registration is not 100%. It does happen. He goes, some people get, the FBI doesn't let them. Some people have the D.C. registration doesn't let them. He's like, and, he goes, I returned the gun from where it came from, but it's not my problem it's your problem to figure out how you get refunded. He goes, but I don't know a lot of gun stores who are going to take back a gun that's been sitting out of their possession for 3 months.
Right.
So it's like you wait and wait and wait, and then you have no idea what you're going to lose. And then all of this being said is the decision to buy your gun in D.C. I didn't really think about it because I've never bought anything so expensive that wasn't returnable, is that even if when I have the gun, say it's too much gun for me, or say, I decide I want something bigger, smaller, different, I can't sell it because in D.C., well, obviously everywhere, you can only sell it, well, you can't pawn it, and I can't sell it to a federally licensed dealer, and there's only one, and it's Charles Sykes, and he doesn't buy and sell guns.
He just does transfers.
Just does transfers. So this gun will literally be buried with me in D.C. because it would be against the law to leave it anywhere else.
Wow. Now, Emily, I understand that you're going to be talking to at least some members of the city council about this.
Yes, I'm finally, all this venting, instead of doing it to you, Cam.
I love to hear it, by the way.
I get to do it to the people who actually can change these things. And Phil Mendelson, who is a Democratic member of the city council, surprised me during this whole process of my writing this series in the Washington Times, and suddenly came out with this new legislation. He's the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, a very important man, that would actually reduce some of these regulations. Like it would not make me provide 2 passport photos, what I have to get now. It will make the city do it. And I think it would take away the ballistics test. And it would say that technically Because right now you have to take a 5-hour safety class, but you're not allowed to take it in the city.
Right.
You have to leave the state to another state. It would say that technically people could use a gun while taking the safety class, which would make it legal to teach the class in D.C. However, the thing is, there's no shooting ranges in D.C. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
a technicality thing for them, I think, to get around the Constitution, which is a problem for them
Right.
now. But the fact is, he has this legislation, and he's having a hearing on Monday in the city council, and I will be testifying about all the problems I've had in the registration of a gun, and I'm going to bring up a lot of things that they haven't brought up yet that I think need to be changed, and I think could possibly lead to a court case in all of this of things that just seem to me that aren't letting me exercise my constitutional right. So I'll be with other wonderful people, I think, who love the Second Amendment as well, will be testifying on Monday at this hearing. And I think it should be really interesting what happens and how because obviously I think my series has sort of given them some nerves of, oh no, we don't want to end up back in the Heller situation, which is where I think they're headed right now. So I'm glad to see this, and I hope something comes of it.
Well, I do too, and we'll certainly be following along. Emily, thank you so much for coming on the program tonight, and we look forward to talking to you again very soon.
I'll be here waiting for my gun.
All right, thanks. Emily Miller from the Washington Times joining us tonight on Cam and Company.